Hi, I'm Dr. V. Jayalakshmi, working as Associate Professor in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. I deliver this video lecture on Power System 2 for the 6th semester students. So in this presentation, I'm going to explain about the control of frequency and voltage. So you all know that the modern power system all are interconnected one. So the main problem in the interconnected power system is the continuously variation in the load demand. So whenever there will be a change in the load demand, then automatically the active and reactive power demand are never be steady. So because of this, there will be an unbalance occurs between the real power input and the output. So due to this, then the frequency and voltage deviate from its the standard values. So we have to rectify this problem by regulating the power input to the generators and by regulating the excitation of the generators. If we regulate the power input to the generators to match the active power demand, then we can able to maintain the constant frequency. Then if we maintain the excitation of the generators to regulate the reactive power demand, then we can able to maintain the constant voltage. So next we'll see what are the reasons to keep the voltage and frequency at constant level. So first we'll see the reasons to keep the frequency at constant level. So you all know that the motors we are using the AC motors only. So it requires the constant speed operation. So if frequency deviate, then it will affect the continuous speed operations. Then if frequency deviate, it affects the continuous operation of the process in case of industry. And unable to maintain the synchronous operation in the case of power system networks. Then the change in the frequency affect the amount of power transmitted through the interconnected lines. So these are the some of the reasons why we need to maintain the frequency at constant level. So let us see the reasons to keep the voltage at constant level. We all know that lighting load like fluorescent lamp and incandescent lamps are very sensitive to the change in the voltage. So even small variation in the voltage, it will start flickering. Then the maximum we are using the induction motor. So in the case of induction motor, the torque is proportional to the square of the voltage. So small variation in the voltage will affect the starting torque. And then the voltage variation, it affects the lifespan of the equipments. And then in the case of television, the picture will start rolling. So these are the some of the reasons why we need to maintain the constant voltage. So next we'll see how to maintain the voltage and frequency at constant level. So we can use the automatic generation control to maintain the power balance between the real power input and output. So if we maintain the power input and the output, then automatically the voltage and frequency may operate at the standard values. So the coupling of load frequency control and automatic voltage regulation is known as the automatic generation control. So look at this figure. So this is the load frequency control loop, and then this is the automatic voltage regulators. So the coupling of LFC and AVR is called the automatic generation control. So the main objective of this AGC loop is to maintain the constant frequency and then voltage. How it maintains the frequency and voltage constant means by adjusting the speed governor parameters in the LFC loop and the exciter in the AVR loop. So first we'll see about the load frequency control. So load frequency, the main goal of load frequency control is to maintain the real frequency and then desired power output in the interconnected power system, and to control the change in the tie line power between the control areas. So here two generators are connected in parallel. They are interconnected by a tie line. So the main aim of LFC is to maintain the constant frequency and then desired power output and then control the change in the power in the tie line. So in the case of interconnected power system, any small change in the load in any one of the area, either at station A or station B, it will affect the entire area, that it will affect the station A, station B, and then tie line. So the LFC, we have to use the LFC, incorporate the LFC to maintain the constant frequency. So the LFC scheme incorporates an appropriate control system which is having the capability to bring the frequency of each areas and tie line power back to its original value. So the basic role of ALFC means automatic load frequency control. So the first role is maintain the desired power output, generator matching with the change in load, and then to assist in controlling the frequency of large interconnection, and to keep the net interchange power between the pool members at the predetermined values. So these are some of the basic role of ALFC loop. So ALFC loop maintain control only during the small and slow changes in load and frequency. So next we'll see the methods employed for the load frequency control in interconnected power systems. So there are 4 methods are there. So one by one we'll see. First method employed to maintain the constant frequency is flat frequency control. So consider the 2 generators are connected in parallel through a tie line. Okay. So in the case of flat frequency control, if any changes in the load occurs either at station A or B, load changes occurs may be at station A or B, then the station A is only regulated. So without changing the operation of the generator at station B. Okay. So this method of control of frequency is called the flat frequency control. So the main drawback of this method is that station A must have enough capacity to observe the load variation of the entire system, and then the tie line between the 2 generators would have to observe all the load variations. So these all are the 2 drawbacks. So because of these reasons, then operation at generation A will be uneconomical, and it will result in the certain limit in the operation of the system. So to overcome this, we can go for the next method of frequency control, that is parallel frequency control. In this method, wherever the load demand changes, either station A or station B, both generators are regulated simultaneously. Okay, so by this method, the load swings are shared by the station A and B, and therefore swing on each station and the on the line will be reduced. This is called the parallel frequency control. Next method is the flat frequency control. So in this method, the method of frequency control, the increase in load of an area is met by increasing the generation in that area. Okay. So if any change in the load occurs at station A, means G1 is responsible for that. If any change in the load occurs at station B, G2 is responsible for that. Okay. So any increase in load is met by increasing the generation in that area only. So if you do like this, then the tie line power will maintain constant. Okay. So this method is used when a small system and a large system are interconnected. So out of these 2, one should be small and another should be larger one. So the larger system maintains the system frequency constant, while the small system is controlled to keep the tie line power constant. So the main drawback of this flat tie line method is it is not suitable when two or more large interconnected systems, because in this case, control the tie line power and frequency deviations may have swing back and forth. Okay. So the control equipment used consists of frequency control only that the larger system, and then tie line power control and recorder at the smaller system. So next last method of load frequency control is the tie line load bias control. This is the modification of flat frequency control and flat tie line control. So in this system, the system is allowed to follow its normal regulating characteristics directed towards holding the normal frequency. So each and every generator has to follow the normal regulating characteristics. So this is the most widely used method on the large interconnections. So in this, all power system assist in regulating the frequency and then tie line power flow regardless of where from the frequency variation originate. Whether deviation occurs in station A or station B, both generators and then tie line powers are regulated. So this method is called the tie line load bias. This is the widely used method. It overcomes the drawbacks of the previous methods. So next we are going to discuss about the operation of the automatic generation control loop. Okay. So first in the second unit already we have discussed about the load flow analysis. There we have observed that will be a strong correlation occurs between the load or rotor angle and then active power, and then the strong correlation exists between the voltage and then the reactive power. So the frequency in power system is controlled by ensuring the injected power matches the system load. Okay, if the injected power matches the system load, we can able to maintain the constant frequency. The voltage is controlled by injection of the reactive power to meet the reactive power demand together with other measures such as the transformer tap changing and automatic voltage regulator actions. So if we maintain that is change the real power, we can able to maintain the constant frequency. If we able to maintain the reactive power, if we change the we can able to maintain the voltage. So let us see the operation of the automatic generation control, how it maintains the constant frequency and voltage. See here, this is the steam turbine. Steam is flowing to the turbine through this valve. Okay, when steam enters to the turbine, it starts rotating. So when it starts rotating, then the generator coupled to the turbine also rotates, and it cuts the flux and it generates the voltage. So real and reactive power will be generator, and it is connected to the grid. Okay. So here we have to ensure whether the frequency and voltage is at the prescribed limit. For that, we have to sense the frequency using the frequency sensor and voltage through the voltage sensor. So this loop is called the excitation loop, and this is to maintain the voltage. And this loop is called the load frequency control loop. This will be helpful to maintain the constant frequency. So there are two loops are there. One is load frequency control loop and another is AVR, that is automatic voltage control loop. So the function of AVR loop is to maintain the constant voltage. The function of LFC is to maintain the constant frequency. So first we'll see about the LFC loop. So first it senses the frequency, output of the frequency is sensed by the frequency sensors. So after that, frequency is sent to the load frequency control. So the LFC check whether the frequency of the output power generator and then the reference value, the change in the tie line power. If there is any deviation, then it will send the command to the valve control mechanism. Okay. So if the generated power frequency is very less compared to the reference frequency, then the valve control mechanism open that, then it allows more stream enter into the turbine. So if you want to reduce the frequency, then the valve control mechanism change its position, and then only small amount of steam enter into the turbine is restricted. So like this, we can able to maintain the frequency. Next, we'll see about the AVR loop, how it maintains the constant voltage. So in the generated output power, the voltage sensor sends the voltage and it gives to the automatic voltage regulator. So this AVR loop compare the output generated voltage with the reference voltage. So if there is any deviation in that, so for example, if the reference voltage is 220 volt, but here are the output generators is 180 volt, means we have to increase the voltage level. For that, the AVR give the signal to the excitation system. Then the excitation system increase the excitation current. Okay, whenever the current through the field increases, then more flux will be generated. Then that generated voltage will be increased. So like that, the voltage will be maintained constant by using this AVR loop. So the main objective of automatic generation control is maintain the frequency at constant level, and it maintains the voltage at constant level. Okay. So next we'll see about the speed governing system. So the speed governing system here, see their valve control mechanism is there, no? So here in this speed governing system will help us to maintain the constant frequency. Okay, this is the block diagram of the speed governing system. So here there are many blocks are there. Speed changer, then speed governor, then hydraulic amplifier, and then steam control valve, like that. So for if you want to increase the speed, okay, so we have to, when the frequency is very less, we have to increase the speed. Then we have to allow more steam into the turbine. Okay, for that, if you want to increase the speed, we have to give the increase command to the speed changer. That is, we have to pull the knob in the downward direction. We have to give the rise command. Okay, so if give the rise command, then the point A, see here, so A, B, C and C, D are the linkage mechanism. So it is A, B, C and C, D, E are the pivoted points. So pivoted valve means it can able to either move either upward direction or lower direction. So there will be no movement in the horizontal and vertical. That is horizontal movement. So it can able to either only allow the vertical movement. Either it can able to move either upward or downward directions. So whenever if you give the rise command to this, then the point A will move downwards. So this if point B is fixed, then C will move in the upward directions. Then when point C is move upward direction, then point D also will move in the upward, and then D will be moved in the downward directions. Okay, so here for example, if you want to raise the command, then point A has to move downwards. Okay, if it move downwards, then the speed governor. So speed governor, there will be two fly balls in that. It can for rise in speed. If you want to increase the speed, then the fly ball will be moved outwards. So if you want to lower the speed, then if you give the lower command, then the fly ball will move towards it. Okay, so the one side of the speed governor is connected to the point B. Okay, so for first now I'll explain when if you want to increase the speed. So give the rise speed command. So the point A will be moved downwards. When it move downwards, then point B also move upwards. So upward means then the point fly balls will move outwards. Okay, then point C connected to the B also move upwards. When point C is move upwards, point D also will be moved upwards. Okay, so the point D is connected to the pilot valve. So in the hydraulic amplifier, the point D is connected to the piston valve. Then point D is connected to the main piston in the hydraulic amplifier. So if point C move upwards, D also will be move upwards. So pilot valve move upwards. So when the pilot valve move upwards, then in the hydraulic amplifier, one low high pressure oil is enter into the hydraulic amplifier. So the high pressure oil will move to the hydraulic amplifier. It takes like this path. Okay. When it enters into the hydraulic amplifier, then the main piston will be moved downwards. So when the main piston P will be moved downwards, then the point connected to the that E point connected to the main piston also will move downwards. So if it moves downwards, then that the valve, control valve will will get open. So the more stream enter into the turbine. So when more stream enter into the turbine, then speed of the turbine will increase automatically. The generated output frequency also will become increased. So this valve control mechanism is there, no? So valve control mechanism is like this. Okay. So if you want to lower the speed, then you have to pull the knob in the upward direction. When it move upward, then that point A also will move upward. Then point B and C will move downwards direction. Then point D will be moved downwards, means then the high pressure oil unable to enter into the hydraulic amplifier. So then if it point D move downwards, then the automatically point E will be moved in the upward direction. So it closes the steam path. So now the amount of steam enter into the turbine is reduced. Like that, we can maintain the speed. That is speed governing mechanism, means we can able to control the speed of the alternators by using this method. Okay. So next, I am going to explain about the modeling of the speed governing system. Okay. So modeling of speed governing system. So assume that the system is initially operating on steady conditions. Steady condition means the linkage mechanism stationary, pilot valve closed, steam valve opened by a definite magnitude. So the linkage mechanism are stationary. So linkage mechanism are stationary like this. And then pilot valve is closed. So pilot valve here it is closed. And then steam valve opened by a definite magnitude. Turbine running at constant speed with the turbine power output balancing the generator. This is the normal steady state conditions. See, in this case, let the operating conditions be characterized by F0, that is system frequency, then generated power F0 as system frequency, that is speed, PG0 as a generated output, that will be equal to turbine output, because here we are neglecting the generating losses. Then YE0 is the steam valve setting. So YE0 means that point E is connected to the main piston. So at the initial position you consider as YE0. Okay. YE0 is the steam valve setting. So we shall attain a linear incremental model around these operating conditions. So let the point A on the linkage mechanism be moved downwards by a small amount del YA. Okay. So when the point A will be moved downwards, if we give the rise command, then it will be moved in the downward direction. That small incremental change, we can let it as del YA. Okay, so del YA. It is a command which causes the turbine power output to change, and we can write it as del YA equal to Kc into del Pc, because we have to change the power output. So we are giving the rise command. So when we give the rise command, then the point A will be moved in the downward direction. So the movement at point A will be proportional to the change in the output power. So to our convert the proportionality constant to equal, we can use this Kc. So del YA equal to Kc into del Pc. So where Pc is the command and increase in the power. So the command signal del Pc, that is del YE, sets into motion a sequence of events. That is, the pilot valve move upwards. Okay. Then when pilot valve move upwards, what will happen? High pressure oil flow on the top of the main piston, moving it downwards. So the steam valve opening consequently increases the turbine generator speed. So the frequency goes up. So let us model this event mathematically. So two factors contribute to the movement of C. Okay, point C is here. Two factors contribute the movement of point C. So one is the change movement of point A. Okay, that is del YA contributes minus L2 by L1 into del YA, or minus K1 del A, that is move upwards of minus K1 Kc del Pc. Okay, the point movement at point C is contributed by the point A and point B. Okay, so the point A, if you assume point, first case, we have to assume point B is fixed. Okay, if it is fixed, then the distance between the A and B is L1. Then distance between B to C is L2. So the moment of point del YA is minus L2 by L1. Okay, why this minus sign means? For we have to assume as a positive, that is the downward direction as positive, and I have to consider negative sign for the upward directions. So next contribution of moment C is increase in the frequency del F. Okay. So whenever there will be a change in the, that is if you want to increase the speed, then frequency also will increase. So the fly ball move outwards. So the point B move downwards. Okay. So next is increase in frequency causes the fly balls to move outwards, so that point B move downwards by a proportional amount of K2 dash del F. So the consequent moment of C with A remaining fixed is L1 plus L2 by L1 into K2 dash del F. That is the distance between the, if you assume point A as fixed, then the distance between point C and A is L2 and L2 plus L1. So that is the L2 plus L1 divided by the distance between A and B. Okay. To K2 dash del F equal to, that is plus K2 del F, because here positive sign is to indicate that it moves in the downward direction. So the net movement we can write it as del YC equal to minus K1 Kc del Pc plus K2 into del F. So the movement of D, that is del YD, is the amount by which pilot valve opens. So it is contributed by del YC and del YE, and we can write like this. Okay. So like point movement of C is contributed by the movement of A and movement of B. Like that, the movement at D point, okay, the movement of D is contributed by the movement of C and E, okay. So that we can write like this, del YD equal to L4 by L3 plus L4 into del YC plus L3 by L3 plus L4 into del YE. So L4 by L3 plus this we can consider as K3, L3 by L3 plus 4 we consider as L4. So we can write this equation as del YD equal to K3 del YC plus K4 del YE. So the moment of del YD, depending upon its sign, opens one of the ports of the pilot valve, admitting high pressure oil into the cylinder, thereby moving the main piston and opening the steam valve by del YE. Okay. So the movement of del YE depends upon its sign. Okay. If it is move its downward means positive, move its upward means negative. So certain justifiable simplifying assumption which can be made at this stage are inertial reaction forces of main piston and steam valve are negligible compared to the forces exerted on the piston by high. So we have considered only the force exerted by the high pressure oil only. So we have to neglect the inertial reaction forces. So because of this, the rate of oil admitted into the cylinder is proportional to the port opening del YD. So how much of del YD is more, that much of oil is admitted. So the volume of oil admitted to the cylinder is thus proportional to the time integral of del YD. So the moment of del YE is admitted by dividing the oil volume by the area of cross section of the piston. So thus we can write like this. So that it can be verified from the schematic diagram that the positive movement of del YD causes the negative and movement of YE accounting for negative sign used in this above equations. So if we take the Laplace transform of the above equations, then we'll get like this. So del YC of S equal to minus K1 KC del PC into S plus K2 del FC. So if we take the del YD moment equation Laplace transform, then we'll get like this. Then del YE equation, if you take Laplace, we'll get like this. So eliminating del YC of S and del YD of S, then we'll get like this. So del YE of S is this. Okay. So this will be useful to develop the mathematical model. So this equation we can represent in the form of block diagram. Okay, so transfer function means the Laplace transform of output by the input. So here del PC of S minus 1 by R del F of S. For that we have to use the one summing point. Okay, then into KSG by 1 plus TSG is the transfer function. That is the Laplace transform of, that is the output by this input. Okay. So the speed governing system of hydro turbine is more involved in the speed controlling. Okay. So additional feedback loop provides the temporary drop compensation to prevent the instability. So this is necessitated by the large inertia of the Penstoke gate, which regulates the rate of water into the turbine. So in the case of hydro turbine, hydro power plant. So in this lecture, we have discussed about the importance of voltage and then that is voltage and frequency control. So what are the reasons why we need to maintain the constant voltage and constant frequency that we have discussed first. After that, how to maintain the voltage and the frequency constant by using the AGS, automatic generation control loop, we have to discuss. After that, the mathematical modeling of the speed governing system we have discussed. Okay, thank you.